All right. Wow. I mean, we've got a lot to cover, and I've got some stuff that I already prepared for you, and then EA dropped a bombshell on us and gave us a ton of sweet stuff to look forward to. So I'm pumped to go over this. I think the timing of this particular session is pretty awesome because we're going to talk about the future of the meta, the future of the game, and then EA just gave us a huge bone on where the game could be heading. So I don't know, for those of you who have already read the announcement, this is going to be review. But if you haven't, why don't you sit down, brace yourself a little bit, because there's a lot of really cool things that are hitting the game right now. The thing that caught my eye immediately is this event that we have with Luke. And just to read this, actually, when I looked at it in game, I was pumped enough just to see Luke's picture showing up in anything that they're doing. But it looked like it was just a way to gain gear for Luke, which at first I felt like was, okay, you know, maybe this could be some foreshadowing. But if you read the information online, it says we're going to have flash events, and this Luke event is part of Luke going on a journey where we can gain Luke gear. And that to me sounds like a massive tease for Jedi Luke coming. And it mentions in the announcement that it will be coming in August. So what's in store, who knows? But it mentions Luke in particular, that he's preparing for the hero's journey. And to help Luke get prepared for the hero's journey, we're embarking on a path to help him to the Forgotten Jedi Order. So I actually heard a lot of theories, and this is kind of getting into some stuff that we'll get into here in a minute. But I heard a lot of theories over the last few months that maybe we're going to have to farm boy Luke to get Jedi Luke. And to me, it sounded stupid. I was thinking, this isn't Pokemon. We're not evolving tunes here. But based on what this announcement is saying, that could be what we're going to have to do to obtain Jedi Luke. They did mention, EA Jesse said that will a version of Jedi Luke be Luke with a lightsaber ever come to the game? Absolutely, but the timing has to be right, and how you unlock him needs to be something special. This is Luke we're talking about here. It has to be epic. So I think that we could have a totally new and unique way to unlock a tune coming up in Jedi Luke. So something to be really pumped about. I'm paying close attention to that. Another thing that's obviously really cool, we got 100% mod drops. Everyone's been complaining about that forever. Mods are hard enough to farm. I think a lot of you are already partaking in the abundance of mods that are coming in your mod battles. The gear art was updated a bit. Maybe you don't care about that. I think it looks cooler. That's something. In that Luke event, also there's Zeta ability mats that are part of the rewards. So finally, another way to earn a Zeta ability mat other than the typical buy it from the store or from the mod challenges. So that's really good news. And I'm sure there's more of that to come. More shards for characters you already have. If you unlock a chromium or a bronzium, and it gives you, a character that you already have, there's better drop rates for what that gets converted to in terms of shards. And then Phoenix Squad is showing up in the chromiums. We've got double drops coming up. Lots of stuff. So I'm actually gonna, for those of you who haven't seen it right now, if you check out QA sessions, let's see, GID QA sessions, I am posting a link to that right now. So check that out. Really exciting stuff, and it hits right in line with everything we want to talk about. So we're going to be talking about the future of the meta and the future of the game. So before I get to some questions you guys asked, and I'm going to fly through this as quickly as I can so that it's good info for you, some good speculation in there from, all the geeking out that I do on this game. But I also want to give some time for you guys to ask questions at the end. So bear with me as I plow through this because I'd love to have some discussion. I'm sure you guys are as pumped as I am about everything that's coming. So the first thing I wanted to break down is 4 likely meta scenarios that I see as a pretty legitimate possibility. And so obviously there's going to be some speculation in this, but if you read the signs, I think that we can have a pretty good idea of what is coming. The most likely meta that I see in the near future is a new, what I'm going to call the New Order Rebel meta. And this was kind of stimulated by Grolish's question. He says, should people stop farming Chays right now and focus their efforts elsewhere? And I could be wrong, but I'm going to say, no, do not stop farming Chays. I am farming Chays right now. I want them as soon as possible. And I think that they're going to be here to stay for the foreseeable future. And a lot of this is because of the latest 2 tunes that have come out that are going to work very well with Chays. And those 2 tunes are obviously R2-D2, who has proven to be very viable in the arena and a real pain in the butt if you're not running him. And then Ahsoka Tano, the Fulcrum version. And we just got some information on her. So what I would predict is probably going to be one of the next most challenging teams to beat is going to be a General Kenobi, Chays, Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum, and R2-D2 combo. So when you're looking at Ahsoka, obviously, like I said in our last Q&A that I ran with R2-D2, you might want to wait for a little bit before you jump on it, see if she's proven in the arena. To be honest, based on what I'm seeing, I'm not even sure you should wait. I think you might just want to go for Ahsoka. She looks freaking OP, and I'm excited to get on it. I'm not sure if I'm personally going to be rushing to farm her because I might want to get Chays sorted out first, but I'm certainly going to unlock her, and I might spend the $10 to get her to 4 stars. The way that it appears she is going to unlock is just like Darth Nihilus, all the Phoenix Squad, some of the other recent character release cadences that have come out. So all of you are probably going to be able to get her at least 3 stars. So that's good news. Now, if you guys have checked SWGOH.gg, they do have the gear requirements out for Ahsoka within the last hour. So I'm going to post a link for that right now as well if you guys want to read along with me. I'm going to go over just a few of those because I know a lot of us have been, there's the link for the gear. A lot of us have been wanting to know how expensive is she going to be to gear. Now, she's an awesome tune, so of course she's expensive to gear. She needs 200 stun cuffs. She needs 200 Carbantes. She needs 150 Fabritech data pad components. Now, those 100, there's also, you'll see there, paired with that, there's 180 Mark 9 Fabritech data pad salvage. Those are the ones that you can get in the daily challenges. So odds are you already have like 500 of those, unless you've been giving everybody a Fabritech data pad component. So you're probably just going to need to farm that component, but still that's 150, which is 3 different pieces. You need 150 of the syringes, the Mark 6 syringes, 120 keypads, 100 stun guns. So out of those, some of the bigger farm items, you've got 200 Carbonti, 200 stun cuffs, 100 stun guns already, and 150 Fabritechs, 100 scanners, 100 projectors, Mark 3 projectors. That sucks. That's a lot. 90 Mark 3 droid collars, 60 Mark 5 keypads, 50 Mark 8 biotechs, 50 Mark 4 projectors. Then you got a 50 Mark 7 shield generators, 50 Mark 6 thermal detonators, 50 Mark 6 Nebuans. So it's expensive, but it will probably be very worth it. So again, definitely a recommendation I have. Now, what is going to make Ahsoka Tano so OP, and why do I think she's going to be viable in a meta set? A lot of it has to do with this one-hit attack that she has, which I have seen on the Smithy D video, if you guys watched. It literally one-shotted Baze. That's huge. And the way it works is she consumes buffs, and for every buff that is unique on her, she deals an extra attack. So she'll line up like up to, I think 11 is the cap. She can do up to 11 attacks that are all dishing out somewhere around 10,000 damage. So that can just really do some sweet work. And she's geared towards being able to do that frequently, or easily, I should say. One of her specials gives her Foresight and Retribution. So there's 2 buffs. And then it copies all other unique ally buffs. And then she gains turn meter for each buff on her. So when you use that, if you've got enough buffs on your team, chances are you're immediately going to be able to go again, and then you're going to be able to one-shot whoever you want, assuming nobody's taunting. Or if somebody is taunting, maybe they're the one you want to one-shot anyway. So if you look at a General Kenobi, Chase, Ahsoka, R2-D2 lineup, how many buff opportunities do you have in that set? General Kenobi does the cleanse and also buffing. Chase obviously is buffs galore. R2-D2 helps grant stealth to everyone. I mean, there's just so much opportunity in there for Ahsoka to be utilized at her best, and she's got the faction support of not General Kenobi, but Chase and R2. So I think that Ahsoka Tano is going to work very well in that team. If you've already got that team minus Ahsoka, you might want to make Ahsoka Tano your top priority. R2-D2, if you guys aren't aware of what makes him OP, check out some videos on him. But basically, he's able to grant taunt in reverse, if you will, because he's going to grant stealth to everyone except for one person who you choose, and that person will also grant Foresight at the same time. And then he can knock everyone's evasion percentage chance down by inflicting that burn. This is kind of old news for everyone, but combining that with the Ahsoka Tano, I think it's going to be sweet. So my first and most likely meta scenario is General Kenobi, Ahsoka, Chase, R2 with General Kenobi in the leadership spot. Second option, this is a little more speculation, but I think it's pretty likely given what they've been doing. I think we could see an Empire meta. And a lot of that will be dependent on who that June fan favorite is. Remember, Ahsoka Tano is not the fan favorite for June. The fan favorite for June has not been announced yet. A lot of people speculate that that fan favorite could be Thrawn. Now, if you guys have seen Rebels, Thrawn is freaking awesome. And if they introduce him into the game, I have a hard time seeing him not being really solid, and I have a hard time seeing him not having excellent synergy with Empire. Now, in the announcement that was just posted like 30 minutes before the session, at the very end it says, "What's ahead?" And it says, "Shrouded in secrecy, but worth the wait." Now, I did a lot of research before the session to try to find if there's anybody in Wikipedia who says like shrouded in secrecy, kind of like the Tarkin thing, where they had a keyword that seemed to be directly linked to Tarkin. I couldn't find anything. However, if you just understand who Thrawn is, it definitely sounds like something that could be describing Thrawn. So this is a lot more speculative. We have a lot less data about this, but with all the reworks they've been doing with Empire, with the likelihood of Thrawn being the fan favorite, and we can conclude that Luke is not the fan favorite for June. It seems very likely to me, Jedi Luke that is, given the tease that Luke is going on a journey, Farm Boy Luke is going on a journey, and that's going to come in August. So if we're looking at just strictly fan favorites, what's ahead, Shrouded in Secrecy, doesn't sound like a light side character. I think Thrawn really fits that mold pretty well. Some other options of who could be that fan favorite, I could see that being Padme. I could see it being another version of Leia. Some people say C-3PO. If Tiny's listening, I know you really want C-3PO to bring in a new droid meta. I have a hard time seeing it being C-3PO simply because R2-D2 versus C-3PO, who are we going to be more excited about? Easily R2-D2. He's the one who's obviously going to be more usable in a battle situation. C-3PO, on the other hand, I mean, what kind of damage could he honestly do to anybody and have it not be laughable? The only way I can see him being a usable toon is if he's commanding everyone else to attack, or if he's making Ewoks super good because he's their god or whatever, that kind of things. So I just don't see, if they released R2 first, I don't see C-3PO coming out next, because it just would seem like a bit of a letdown. Now, if C-3PO was in May, then it would make more sense for R2 to be coming after that. That's just my opinion. I think it's Thrawn. So first option for meta, I think probably a new Rebel meta. Second option, Empire meta. Now here's a third option, and I think this is what I would love to see happen. And that is a dual meta, where you've got a light side meta, which is the Rebel meta I already mentioned, and then a dark side meta, which is the Empire meta I already mentioned, with Thrawn being released and all that. Now what's really cool about that is we would, unless you're a whale and you can just afford everybody, which is fine, nothing against that. But for most of us who are free to play, we are in a position where we have to choose light versus dark in a more meta viable way, where you're not just like, right now I'm a light side team, but I'm going to be honest, as the Jedi, I fell all the way to 42 today. That sucked, because I get targeted. You know, my team is not meta. I can beat anybody, and I can finish first every day if I hit it right. Today I actually didn't, because I was busy working on this. It's not a meta team. So what I'm talking about here is not just teams that are viable to win, but two solid choices for OP meta teams. One Empire, one Rebels. I think that would be really, really, really cool. So my fourth option that I wrote down was a Jedi meta, which everybody is rolling their eyes. I can already see you guys typing. I'm not even looking at what you're saying. I'm actually going to scratch this off my list at this point for the near future, because the only way I see Jedi meta coming into this game quickly is if Jedi Luke is released in June. And based on this announcement that we just saw, I don't think Jedi Luke is coming in June. But that said, when Jedi Luke comes into this game, I would be shocked if he did not bring in a Jedi meta. I would be shocked, because they have made us wait so long for Jedi Luke. They've put so much into the anticipation of him. It seems like they're investing in it more directly now. They're going to make Jedi Luke freaking incredible. And I am sure that he's going to have excellent synergy with other Jedi, especially hopefully with General Kenobi and some of those traditional Jedi that are doing so well in the arena right now. So when we get Jedi Luke, which appears to be August, perhaps that is when my long-awaited Jedi meta will arrive. So on to a few questions. So the first question I had was, when is the Jedi meta coming? It's funny because I just answered that. That was Evan JM. Will Jedi Luke ever be launched? Cypher asked that. So I think just a quick answer, it looks like it's coming in August based on the announcement. Another question. This is from Tiny. Which characters are likely to survive any meta changes and why? Great question. And these are the tunes that are really smart to invest in if you're close to them, or if you're not sure what to do, or if you just want to have somebody that you can put in any set. So here's a few opinions I have. This isn't a comprehensive list, but a good starting point is who does not need faction support? Who's not dependent on a faction? Kylo Ren is going to be at the top of my list for one of those tunes that's going to survive the most meta changes. Nihilus. I run Nihilus with my Jedi team, Zeta Nihilus, and he works, believe it or not. He especially works against Chase. So Nihilus isn't super dependent on faction support. It looks to me like Ahsoka Tano isn't. The Fulcrum Ahsoka Tano is not going to be dependent on faction support. I think that she will benefit from it. Everybody benefits from it, but I don't think she's dependent on it. R2-D2 is one that maybe isn't as dependent on faction support, but also he has like 50% of the factions tagged on him already. Because he's, what is he, a rebel? He's a resistance. He's Galactic Republic. He's droid. So he's a great tune to invest in, just for the simple fact that there's so many different options of factions that he will fit in. If you're running a Jedi team, this is a question that Cypher had, and I think it fits in with this. If you're running a Jedi team, would Fulcrum fit in there? Fulcrum Ahsoka Tano? And the answer is yes. I think she would fit in a Jedi team as a 5th spot. If I were running her, I would run Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, Zeta Yoda, General Kenobi, Anakin, and then Ahsoka Tano, Fulcrum version. So there's some examples of some tunes that will probably survive meta shifts, in my opinion. If there's others, please comment that you have opinions of. I'm actually, just so that I can stay focused, I'm not reading the comments yet, so you guys talk however you please. Next question. And Tiny brought this one up. I think, okay, I did read that, guard. I did read that. I glanced. Why is B2 brought up as an easy counter each time a new meta comes up, but somehow always seems to fail to convert that initial excitement into actual results? So that was, again, Tiny. Bottom line for B2 for me, and I haven't ran him, so I don't know exactly how he works on offense. But from a defensive standpoint, he doesn't kill anybody. His DPS is horrible. He's annoying as crap to go against because he's going to always have that chance of attacking everybody. He's going to, especially if you're running a Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn set, he's going to wipe away your foresight. He's going to dish out buff immunity. I would say B2, a lot of people think he's good because he's really annoying to go against, and he can prevent buffs. He can get rid of foresight. But at the end of the day, I think the reason why he doesn't convert is he doesn't dish out damage. Same reason like a Barriss Ophi at the end of the day doesn't convert. On paper, she looks great. She can heal. She has a Zeta ability. Every critical hit gains you health. But at the end of the day, she does no damage. And she's super easy to kill because she just doesn't deal any damage. So that's why I would say B2 isn't that great. And so, I mean, you guys can probably still find ways to use him and still be relevant in your arenas. But at the end of the day, he's just not. He doesn't fit anywhere in a solid meta team, in my opinion. Another question. Do you think that EA will continue to push group metas like Phoenix, where you need a full squad to be halfway decent, or go back to individual pair synergies like they used to? So I forgot who asked this, but I think we kind of have a bit of a hybrid right now. Factions are definitely important. I would say if you look at them, though, there are very few teams that have full faction. The one team that comes to mind for me, two teams, maybe if you're running a Zeta Nihilus as a leader, you might have a full Sith team in that case. Or if you're running Zeta Qui-Gon Jinn, you might have a full Jedi team in that case. But in a lot of cases, people are able to combine factions. So I'm not convinced that we even have a group meta right now. I think there's a lot of hybrids going on. For example, in my opinion, one of the toughest teams to beat in the game at the moment, for me at least, is a Zeta Maul with two other Sith Lords and then Chase. I mean, it makes no sense for Chase to be under a Zeta Maul lead, but what that does is it forces you to attack Chase right out the gate because those Sith have stealth on them, and that can slow you down too much until to the point that you're dead. Rex is being ran with all sorts of people, and it makes no sense that he has so much synergy with everybody. So I don't think that we necessarily have a true group meta at this point. I actually think that EA might be pushing towards that with this Rebel, all these Rebels they're releasing. By the way, we're at I think it's 8 Rebels in a row released for the new characters. It's been Rebel after Rebel after Rebel. And we've also got that Empire rework. So I think they could be moving more towards a true group meta. Okay, next question. Any idea on reworks for characters and new Zetas for existing characters? So this is going to be pure speculation, and I forgot who asked this, so I'm sorry for not giving you due credit. But whoever you are, great question. So one of the main factions that is lacking in Zeta abilities is droids. Obviously, R2 brought some Zeta to the table for droids, but if there's a faction that is probably due for a Zeta eventually, I would say it's droids, but I'm not convinced that that's going to happen anytime soon based on just kind of the mood of what EA is doing. I personally would love to see a Zeta on Anakin Skywalker. He's definitely OP already, so there's a good chance that won't happen. However, he's Anakin Skywalker. He just kind of seems to deserve a Zeta. So we'll see. I can't really think of any other characters right now that are really due for Zetas. I think that the devs are definitely moving towards all of these new characters right now. So I have a feeling that reworks might slow down for the time being as they're getting ready to hopefully roll out this Jedi Luke deal. Maybe they'll give Farm Boy Luke a Zeta. Maybe that'll be part of this process. I don't know. But I do have some ideas on some new abilities that could be used. And the reason why I think this is relevant is the devs have teased that we're going to see an ability like we've never seen before. Now, maybe what they were talking about already came out with Ahsoka Tano, consuming buffs to deal extra hits. Or maybe with R2-D2 dishing stealth out kind of like Scimitar does in ships. But I can think of a few other ideas that would be pretty sweet to see that we might see at some point that are nowhere near the game right now. Number one is, what if you could nullify or even steal the other team's leader ability? Or what if you could knock gear levels down somehow? What if you could ignore stealth or cancel out unique abilities? Now, a lot of people have complained about Chase. One of the biggest complaints is there's just not really a true counter to Chase. The best counter I can think of is probably Boba Fett, because he deals just a tremendous amount of damage when there's tons of buffs on people. So he would probably be the only true counter to Chase that we have in the game right now. What if we had some kind of ability that could neuter Chase in battle? That could be the way that Chase goes out. Who knows? Those are just totally on-the-cuff predictions, ideas. If you have other ideas, feel free to comment. And then the last I wanted to hit on before I got some general and quick hit questions, and then we'll get to your live Q&A. I wanted to hit on just a little bit of future of game modes, raids, maybe a gear cap increase, etc. So we do know that we're going to have a new game mode. That's been stated. And so a new game mode, Smithy D kind of hit on that. It's been a few months it's been at least a month, I think, since we talked to Smithy D, and we were speculating about this then. So this has been a long time coming. So I would guess that it's coming soon, maybe in June. A lot of the traditional speculations for that is guild v guild, which I don't know exactly what that would entail, but it would be some kind of guild effort to battle against other guilds to maybe generate some kind of leaderboard. It would probably be closely related to the current leaderboard, which could be good or bad for us as a community, because the way that you get on the leaderboard is by, I don't know, getting a little too hardcore as far as tickets are concerned. It's not even about strength. It's about how often you raid. So I'm not sure if that would be it. Another option is live PvP, which I think would be sweet, because I would love to be able to challenge Cypher to a battle so I could just humiliate him live in front of all of you. But that's a legitimate possibility that I think could come to the game. Another game mode I would like to see, I don't think this is what they're teasing at, but something that I'm hoping we see eventually is free practice, where we're able to practice against, who knows, maybe you're able to just do a live practice round with a friend for nothing. Maybe you're able to practice a raid. Maybe you're able to practice against the team of your choosing. Whatever it is, I think it's in EA's best interest to bring free practice into the game. And the reason why is because, I don't know about you guys, unless you have a second account, I reach parts of the day every day where I'm opening my game and I'm looking at it like, okay, all my energy's out, my Galactic War's done, I'm done with all my arena battles, I don't have anything else to buy in shipments, I don't have anything else to do except for look at how beautiful all of my Jedi are. And I don't think that EA wants us to have much dead time. I think it's in their best interest to get us in the game as much as possible. If we had some kind of free practice that didn't cost energy, that allowed us to strategize more, I think that would be in their best interest. So I really hope we see that. However, and then as far as another option for a new game mode, and this is what I think is most likely, is ship battles. Kind of like you see your light side and dark side battles. I think there's a solid chance that we could see a similar campaign style for ships. And one reason why I think that is likely kind of leads into what my prediction is for raids. And this isn't my prediction. This is everybody's prediction. The next raid that we have in this game is probably going to incorporate ships, whether it's a ships only raid or whether it is a ships and characters raid. I think it's more likely it would be ships and characters. But for them to move towards that, and I think that they will, it makes sense to me that they would first release ship battles as kind of a segue into that opens up more options to gear up your ships somehow. Maybe they're going to bring more as far as hardware is concerned. They certainly need to bring more ships and create more opportunities to gain those shards. So I think there's a lot that they can do there. That could be the new game mode that the devs teased that we could see very soon, especially because I know there was something where we saw ship energy showing up. I don't remember all the details to that, but that wouldn't have shown up anywhere if it wasn't going to be some kind of ship battles. So I think that's probably coming pretty soon. So a quick general question I had was from Silver. He asked, what is the best way to farm gear and which ones to buy from shipments? So I did hit on this in our last Q&A that I hosted, but I'll cover it again. When it comes to farming gear and buying them, my personal opinion with crystals is your crystals are best spent with energy refreshes and gear in the shipments. And if you're buying ships or buying gear from shipments, the best gear, in my opinion, to buy, number one on my list is projectors. Those Mark III projectors, they show up for 300 crystals. Everyone and their dog needs one. They're not really that expensive, and it really just saves you a lot of time. Another great buy is the Mark VIII balls. I'm not sure what they're called, the orbs or whatever. Those are 750 crystals, saves you a lot of time on the farm. The other one that's pretty common is those boxes, the Athacam packs, or however you pronounce that. Those are 750 crystals as well. Any of that gold gear really that you need that takes a long time to farm, I think that's worth the investment. Obviously, as far as a cost-effective long-term is concerned, your crystals are probably best spent just on energy refreshes and then waiting for the gear. But my opinion is, why wait when you've got the crystals for it? If you can afford it, go ahead and buy it. I bought several pieces of gear for R2-D2, and I fast-tracked him all the way up to almost gear 11 already in just a week. So I think it's worth it to spend those crystals on gear. And for you to really be able to spend those crystals on gear, I recommend you focus all of your efforts on your arena team so you can get more crystals. If you're going to spend money on the game to get crystals, a great route to take is to buy that $12 or $13 100 crystals a day for 21 days pack. That's a great boost to your crystal store and helps you buy more gear. So that, in my opinion, is the best way to farm gear. Another good way to do things is to write out which gear you need for each tunes and focus on the gear that is farmable first, and save the gear that you can buy for when you can buy it, and then request the gear that's easily requestable, and do all of that at the same time and balance it out so that you get there as soon as possible. The gear that I like to request the most, and everyone in Spaceballs will know this, is Carbantes. A lot of people have extra Carbantes. They seem to be really generous with their Carbantes. I always get 5 Carbantes when I request them. So that's a really great way to farm Carbantes, in my opinion. And just make sure if you're always requesting Carbantes that you're also donating, so you don't be that guy. So Then I just got 3 quick hitting questions here. Number 1, and I didn't write down names for all of these. Number 1, will the new movie pan out more Resistance characters? Yes, absolutely. And I should have added that I have a meta prediction down the line. If this prediction comes true that we have an Empire meta and a true Rebel meta, then I would not be surprised at all if they like that whole light side versus dark side thing, and that come December we have a First Order meta and a Resistance meta, and you have to choose between the two. So if you've got First Order and Resistance tunes, you have invested wisely, my friend, because there is definitely going to be more of that to come later. So absolutely, I mean, I don't even feel like it's speculation to say we're going to get more Resistance. I feel like it's a fact. We just know they're going to take advantage of the movie. I mean, how many Rogue One we get? We got tons. We're going to see a lot of Resistance characters, and we're going to see a lot of First Order characters. Tiny asked a funny question. Hondo the Pirate Gang meta, when is this coming? Now, I do not think we're ever going to see a Hondo meta. However, Hondo's got to come to this game at some point. And I think that Hondo has got to be a pretty awesome scoundrel. And I don't know, maybe we could see a scoundrel meta at some point. I do think Hondo would be really fun to bring to the game. I love that guy. He's one of my favorite characters from the cartoons. So hopefully we see him. And then somebody asked, will there be a spreadsheet for farming Fulcrum's gear? It's posted on .gg right now. I shared the link. If you want me to put a spreadsheet together for you, I'll do it for you just because I love you guys.